Hi Year 9. So this video is going to be looking at dictation translation skills. This is actually within a worksheet on a tense. So this was from your week 3 lesson 2 worksheet from term 5, and we're going to be looking at tasks 1 to 3. So I put a dictation sound file for you on Google Classroom, and I wanted you to listen to that and write down what you thought you could hear in Spanish. I actually gave you those answers for you to then look at where you went wrong with the spelling. So that's really what we're going to start with. I'm going to show you the transcript, read it through, and talk through a couple of common errors that you may have made in your spelling in Spanish. And then we're going to look at translation, because I know that sometimes you get a bit caught up when there's a word that you don't know, or the words come in a different order in English and it doesn't quite make sense. We're going to look at how you can attempt everything without the use of Google Translate and use logical guesses on sections we might not be certain of. Okay, so that's what we're looking at for this. The dictation was as follows. So the dictation answer was: En España, la primera comida del día, día has an accent on it, es el desayuno, que no es muy. Sometimes people write M-O-Y for muy. Make sure you write in the U there. Abundante. Punto. La comida más has an accent, importante, es el almuerzo. Now this word might have caught a few of you out because it doesn't sound anything like an English word, and this Z, almuerzo, it makes like a TH sound. Okay, so you need to remember that with the Spanish spelling. Quite often there's a Z when it sounds like a TH. Que se realiza, again, same thing, realiza, TH. A mediodía, entre la 1 y las 3 de la tarde. Punto. La última, U. Okay, so that's a U sound. Última comida del día es la cena. Cena. Okay, C is another letter that is a TH. In terms of knowing whether it's a C or whether it's a Z, it's just a case of knowing your vocab for the topic. Okay, they both have the same sound in certain words, so it's very difficult to tell unless you learn your vocab. Cuando los españoles, remember we've got to have a squiggle on españoles, toman algo ligero, this sound, it sounds a bit like a H, but if you have phlegm in your throat, ligero, and that's a G. Ligero, como sopa, verdura. A B and a V often sound very, very similar. Verdura. Huevos, remember that H is silent. Huevos, or fruta. So there's a couple of things to be aware of. A Z or a C can be a TH sound. A V and a B are very similar. A G is like a H sound, but with a bit of phlegm. And N makes a N sound. Okay, so in terms of your spelling, those are a couple of things that you need to just bear in mind for your dictation. I'm now going to look at translating that into English, not using any resources, and just imagining that I am in your position. So with translation, we should always focus on the bits that we do know first and ignore the sections that we don't. So, en España, we know that's in Spain. La primera, hopefully you know, primera is like primary school, the first school you went to, or Premier League football, the first league of football. Primera is first. Yeah, if you go to a film premiere, that's the first one you're going to see, the first viewing. So the first comida is food. Okay, we're just going to put that as food for now. I'm going to come back to this in a minute though. Del día, of the day. Día looks like day. Es is el desayuno. So even if we're not quite sure what desayuno is, we've said the first food of the day. What is the first food of the day? Breakfast. Now if we look back at our sentence here, the first food of the day doesn't quite sound right in English, so just to make that a little bit better, meal. Okay, that just translates better in English. The first meal of the day is breakfast. Que, that. No es is not. Muy, very. Abundante. I'm not really sure what that word means, so we're going to leave that and come back to it. La comida más importante. So we've got the food more important or most important. So we need to make that sound more English. The most important. And again, we could say food. Es is el almuerzo, which we may not be sure of. Now if we look at what we've got here, in Spain the first meal of the day is breakfast. That is not very blank. The most important food is, again, because we're talking about parts of the day and when we eat things, I would be inclined to say meal again for this. If you have food, it still makes sense, it just sounds better English to say meal. The most important meal is blah blah blah. Que, that. Se realiza, we're going to leave that for now because that's not a very obvious one. At mediodía. So we know that día is day, medio is like half. Okay, so what is halfway through the day? Midday. Entre, between. La una, 1, y las 3, and 3, de la tarde, in the afternoon. Punto. Okay, so now I've got the end of that sentence. I'm going to come back and see whether I can fill in anything with some guesses. In Spain, the first meal of the day is breakfast. That is not very blank. The most important meal is blank, that blank at midday between 1 and 3 in the afternoon. So we've got to think, right, what is this most important meal then? It's the one that happens between 1 and 3 in the afternoon. That's lunch. Okay, el almuerzo is lunch. And then if we were making that into an English sentence, the most important meal is lunch, that at midday between 1 and 3 in the afternoon. You would say that happens, that occurs, that takes place, yeah? And se realiza, realizarse, is that it means to happen or to take place. But you can work that out from your knowledge of English without actually knowing that piece of vocab, okay? That makes sense. I'm still going to leave this for now and I'm going to come back to that a bit later on. La última comida, okay, now última, we see this a lot in role plays or photo cards or writing tasks. Última looks like ultimate, but it is not ultimate. I'm going to leave it for now and we're going to come back to it. The blank, comida del día, again we're talking about foods of the day, so meal of the day. Es la cena. Okay, so we've talked about breakfast, we've talked about lunch. So if we don't know this, la cena, through process of elimination, is going to be dinner. Cuando, when. Los españoles. So I'm going to say the Spanish, but you could say Spanish people, if you wanted to. The Spanish. Toman, we know that's the verb have when we're talking about food and drink. Algo ligero, como sopa. Como is like, sopa is soup. Verdura, vegetables. Huevos, eggs, or fruta, or fruit. So I've still got a couple of gaps. In Spain, the first meal of the day is breakfast. That is not very, and the word in our text was abundante. Now, in English, some of you may go, oh, abundant, that's an English word. Okay, technically that's fine. It does mean abundant, but we don't really use that word very much. You wouldn't say my breakfast was not very abundant today. Abundant is when there's a lot of something, okay? So it's not very filling, it's not very big, would be fine. Now I know that grande is big, but to make it sound English, that would be fine. Filling would be fine. Abundant would be fine. Okay, just try and do what sounds best to you. The most important meal is lunch. That happens at midday between 1 and 3 in the afternoon. The something meal of the day is dinner. So it's not the first, it's not the most important, it's the last, okay? Ultima comes up quite a lot in exams and they think they may throw it in there to throw you off a little bit, but they quite often say la última vez, the last time, okay? La última, the last. The last meal of the day is dinner, when the Spanish have algo ligero. So, like soup, vegetables, eggs or fruits. Now these aren't a very full meal, it's not a very big meal. So the Spanish have, algo means something. So you could say something little, something small, something, I would say light is the best translation for ligero. But any word that I can't think of any more examples that you can think that's not substantial, okay, just a little something in the evening. If you said the Spanish have a little something, like soup, vegetables, eggs or fruit, you would still convey your meaning, okay? So use logical guesses. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 gaps there that I thought potentially you wouldn't know, but you would be able to guess the majority and actually end up with a finished product. We don't want any blanks left in an exam. You will not get your marks if you don't have your full sentences. So think logically and try and apply that.